Hey everyone, Josh Martinez here at Mark Trades Institute. We have a fantastic testimonial today. We have an individual named Trish, and she's been able to generate over 10,000 US dollars within about a 30 trading day period. She's put in the time, the effort, she's put in the how-to, she has a solid formula of success. And what we want to do is just kind of discover what she's doing right, some of the challenges in which she's had, and what she did to overcome those stumbling blocks and turn them into stepping stones. So with that being said, let's go ahead and introduce Trish. So hey Trish, first things first, congratulations
Thank you.
on your success. I think the biggest thing which people are wanting to hear and they want to discover is how much have you made, and what was the most you made within like a 30 trading day period?
The most I made in a 30-day trading period is about 13,000.
Wow.
Which was last month. So I've had 2 months in a row now that I've been over 10K.
Now here's the big thing. I guess what a lot of people are going to want to know is what is your approach to the forex market? So like for example, what is your routine? So when you wake up in the morning or the day, you're looking at your charts like 15 hours a day. Is this something that you do part-time, full-time? But what's your approach? Like what methodology or formula or strategy are you using for this success?
Well, I've been trading for 4 years, and the first year, of course, was a disaster. I blew up a few accounts, kept funding the accounts, and blew up some more accounts. The London breakout was one of my favorite, which is where I first got to know you. And we went through that back in 2013, and I did the mastery course, which you were a part of back when your dad did it. So I thought I knew everything when I left the mastery course, and I didn't. So equity management was, I didn't understand it, and that was my worst nightmare. So I traded with standard lots, and I only had a $25,000 account, and it blew up like that.
Wow.
So, and of course, one of my biggest problems was holding on to trades and not letting them go and going, oh, well, it's going to go my way. And I was trading the pound USD and the euro USD, and they were totally upside down and against me, and I wasn't closing them thinking that it would come back. And I went out shopping one day, and I came back and I went, where's my trades? Where's my trades?
Right.
And my stop loss got hit, which was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pips away. My stop loss got hit, and I got taken out of my trades, and that was bad. So that was my first experience of losing all my money. That was not good. So
you got started. You had a disaster year. You went and you did the mastery program. But what's your approach now? Like what do you do? What do you use? Like what methodology or approach do you use to actually obtain the success? Because you said you made over $10,000 last month, but you've been doing this 2 months in a row, so you made a little bit over $20,000 in the last 2 months, which, congratulations, by the way, is fantastic. You're probably trained with fantastic equity management because you went through that scar of trading standard lots and going through larger drawdown, but it seems like you really turned that into a star, which is fantastic. But what is your approach now? Do you use leveling? Do you use mastermind strategies? I know you're part of those programs, but what do you do? I think that's the biggest thing which many individuals are going to want to know.
I scale in now more than I ever did before. So I'll go into the trade with a smaller lot size, and if it does go against me, and I'll get in, and I'll increase the lot sizes as I go if it's going my way to get myself out of a trade or to make my profit. That's one thing that I never did before. So I was the one trade, it's 900 pips against me, and then you get stopped out, and that's one of the biggest things that I've learned now from you and the Mastermind club as to how to do that with leveling as well. One of the other very big programs that I've really enjoyed has been the momentum breakout, and using the sentiment to understand where the market's going and whether or not it's an actual trade or not a trade, and whether I should be going in or not going in at the time. So when I get up in the morning and I do the London breakout, I'll listen to the analysts as well. And then I'll go through and look at my charts and see where they're at and go start trading from there.
Perfect. Well, I think the big takeaway here and what I'm hearing is you have your equity management and your lot size under control. What that does is it provides you the forgiveness to take a little larger loss, but being able to focus in on the art of being an investor. You have the belief and the approach and the strategy to be able to size into the market, whether the market goes against you short term or whether the market goes for you, which is really giving you that competitive edge to be able to play off the wave movement. Is that all correct so far?
Yes, I scalp quite a bit too.
Okay.
I find that I would like to get in, take 20, 30, 40 pips and get out. So I will go on a momentum basis as well. If the trades, if it's moving, especially in the London session,
Right.
I'll get in and get out and take 30, 40, 50 pips as soon as I see it come back down. And one of the problems with that, of course, is all of a sudden it keeps going.
Right.
You're going, wow, if I would have stayed in, I would have had 75 pips or 100 pips on the trade. But I'm happy with what I take, and I've got the methodology now of saying I'm in this for the short term and whatever I can come out with.
Right.
So,
two things. Number one is it seems as if you have the habit down. And what I mean by the habit of what you said, which I want to point out is, look, when I go into the trade, I have the intentions of making my 25 to 45 pips. And even though I close out, sometimes the market keeps going. And it's a skill to be able to religiously go in there and have the habit of saying, this is what I came here to accomplish. I accomplished it, because you're applying the habit which duplicates successes over and over and over and over and over again. So for the investors who are watching this video, some of the things that we can get caught up in, and I got caught up into it big time in the early my trading career, is I would close out my 45 pips, but then the market would go my way, and the market would like run another 50 pips, and I would say, oh, if I would have just held my trade. And then what happens? You hold your trade, and then the market goes the opposite way.
of course, yeah.
So, but one thing I want to point out, because I'm just trying to understand. So, for the methodology, when you look at the charts, because I know you have leveling, I know you have Mastermind and momentum. So what I'm wondering is, do you try to find like a larger target? Do you try to identify like a 500 pip or 600 pip push? And then what you're doing is let's just say it's 500 pips up, and you're finding all the low prices, and you're strategically entering in low, taking your 35 to 50 pips at a time, whatever it is, and then you take it, next low price you buy in again, and the next. Okay, and so you're taking chunk after chunk after chunk after chunk after chunk. Okay.
That's true. And sometimes in a night, if one pair is moving very nicely and I get out at 45 pips and it does a pullback, I know, I should be waiting 50 pips, but it won't. Sometimes it doesn't do that.
Right.
I'll wait for the line break. I'll continue on with the trade.
Okay, good.
I have a target, and I go through the monthly for direction, and I to the daily for everything, and then I get into my entry for my 1 hour time frame.
Perfect. And then if by chance the market goes against you, that's where you're utilizing the size and methodology to protect you on the drawdown.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
here's my question. Big question is, when you look at the charts, and now you have a methodology, and you have an approach, and now you have success, a fantastic success 2 months in a row, and you're establishing your habit of generating the income, what is your confidence level? And what I mean by that is, if you walk in with the confidence, not I don't want to say cockiness, but the confidence of saying, hey, I know what I'm doing, I have the skill, and this is my expectation. Because I know when you're newer, and when an investor's new, just like myself, when I was new, I would turn on my charts and I would just be like real nervous, and I would say, I'm really not too sure about my steps. I would do all the analysis, and then I would say, I'm really not 100% confident in my ability. Do you still struggle with the issue of being confident, or do you think that you have a strong methodology to where you're kind of like, hey, now I'm just on a mission, I know my formula, I know what to do, and now I'm just production driven?
Now, sometimes I'm too confident. sometimes I'm confident that I know where it's going and it doesn't go that way. And
Right.
then you go, well, what happened? But I've got confidence. I don't have a lack of confidence on the charts. When I look at the charts, most of the time I know which pairs I'm looking at. Sometimes I miss trades because I don't get into the proper. I'll go and I'll look for another pair and I'll go, wow, did I ever miss that Euro New Zealand? It just moved 250 pips,
Right.
where did it go? So, but I'll do that, and it's more of a, well, I wish I would have seen that, and then you get a little antsy because you didn't get that trade.
Right.
So, but I'm very confident with myself to say, okay, as long as I come out with somewhere between 300 and 500 pips in a week,
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with that for the time being, because I know I can increase my lot sizes as I go along. As the money comes along, you can increase your lot sizes.
Right.
And I'll make more money as I go. That's one of the things that I'm hoping will come along quicker
Right.
rather than not. But I don't want to push it.
Right.
I don't want to push a trade or push an extra lot size anymore. So I'm definitely using all the equity management that I can, and it's working out so far very good. 92% trading still.
Wow. 92% strike rate. That means you're winning 92% of your closed trades.
That is correct.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, I have 4 losers over the last 100 trades, 8 losers over the last 200. 41 losses on 507 trades this year.
Wow.
507. So that's why I say I'm a scalper. I like it.
Right.
Sometimes when it doesn't go against me, I'll do the same thing. By the time that I get out, I'm at 3 pips or 4 pips. And then you look at the end result and you go, wow, the net loss was 88 cents. Darn.
Well, let me ask you this question. So your significant other, which I believe is your husband, is he excited? Is he happy? Is he pleased with the performance thus far in the last 2 months and so?
He is, yes,
Good.
yes. And
Good.
He's becoming a better trader for it himself.
Good.
So he's a trader as well, and he has his own account. And his own account, he doesn't lose very much money, but then again, he doesn't trade very much money. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm more the risk taker, and he's the conservative trader. So.
Well, I think that's really neat. I think it's really cool that you guys are both trading at the same time. My wife doesn't trade yet. She's we got 2 little kids. I got a 2-year-old boy and a 9-month-old boy, and but whatever. One day I hope she does as well. So I think that's really, really fantastic. You have that support system.
Well, that's yes. We've enjoyed it quite a lot, and he's been doing it as long as I have as well. So it's coming along pretty good for all of us. Yeah.
Well, just a couple more questions. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. But here's a question, and this is a question which I ask everybody when I do this. You have access and the opportunity to really attach yourself to many mentors in the industry, and many people that are saying, "Hey, come learn this strategy, come apply this technique." What did I do different that you kind of were like, hey, I want to go give Josh an opportunity to earn my trust, and I want to see firsthand what he's doing? Basically what I'm trying to ask here is why did you choose me?
I think I chose you more so over the last while because you have a very good way of teaching. You have a way of bringing an understanding of how to trade using regular, normal words that people understand, and say, okay, now listen to me, this is the way it should be. And it brings out something that makes you stand up and say, okay, I should really listen to what he's saying because this is how it is. Whereas I was in the Chiefs room, in the elite room, and in the trading room last year, and you'd walk away from that and you'd kind of go, okay, now what was I supposed to do? 1, 2, 3 was this and that. And once I learned the 1, 2, 3, and I've used that strategy for a long time. I mean, I do trend line crosses and breaks and candlestick formations, and unlike you, I use stochastics to check where it's going, but I also have that momentum breakout to see where that sentiment is as well. Right. So, but I enjoy listening to you, and I think that the way that you actually teach to people how to trade is top notch. I think you do a great job, and obviously my results in the last 5 months have really 6 months have showed a great tipping point. I would say definitely have had my tipping point now, and as long as I can continue to not marry those trades, that's the biggest thing, you know.
Well, congratulations on your success. A couple things. You're going to expect to receive a T-shirt just like this. It's going to say 10K Success Now Club. You also get access to your $500 MTI bucks, and as well as you're going to receive a handwritten card from me. But I'm not going to tell you what's in it. You got to read it. Before we end, what I want to do is just kind of ask this. Is there anything, now that we're together and we're face to face, is there any question that you have for me, or is there a stumbling block that you're kind of like, hey Josh, you know what, I've been trying to overcome this, I've been trying to resolve this issue in my trading. And if you don't have that question right now, that's okay. What I can do is I can have make sure Rachel, your account executive, I can make sure she gives you my email information, and then you can ask me that question. Because the biggest thing is this: typically outside of equity management, there's only 1 or 2 questions or unsolved questions that really takes an investor to the next level. And what I mean by that is your next level is going to be $25,000 in a month, and working towards the $250,000 income year, which you're closer than you think. And so you've already are 2 months into this, we're making over $10,000. You're now, last month I believe you said $13,000. Mm-hmm. So if you really think about it, you're only really $12,000 away, which really isn't that far away in the big scheme of things. And so I guess my question is, do you have anything that you want to ask me right now? And if you don't, I can always make sure Rachel provides you that information.
Yeah. When's that euro yen gonna fall?
I know. Great news is this: daily time frame has fulfilled its capital D.
I saw that. Yes.
As well as the daily time frame has fulfilled its sub D.
Yes.
As well as the 1 hour time frame just hit its D. You know how right before we started with this, it spiked up.
Yes.
If you look at the 1 hour time frame, hit that D and it spiked right back down. Also, on top of all that, the pound yen has fulfilled its daily sub D, and the pound yen had a massive bear move today. And so
it did. I took 65 pips off of it before we got together.
Good, good. So with the pound yen turning and breaking the upward structure, we are expecting the euro yen to follow as well. So I am anticipating that the bearish move starts this week and the follow through over the next 2 weeks. We do have that monthly U-turn level to where, you know how this morning when we looked at in the past and we looked at that price point and how the market's making all those wicks. Well, what's happening right now, percentage speaking, is the reason why the euro yen is pushing so hard is it had unfinished business to hit all those D extensions. Now with all those Ds being hit, the market should fall down, and just like what we saw the last 2 decades, we should have a long wick, and so the market should fall, in my opinion, at least 300 more pips from where we are now before the month ends, which is going to push all of our trades right back into the profit.
That would be a good thing.
Yeah, very good thing.
One of the confusing things I find is that when I start talking about a pair and I look at the correlation of different pairs to each other.
Yes.
And then say the pound yen starts falling, but the pound New Zealand is going up. And,
yes.
And you start to look at the New Zealand as being, well, what's going on with New Zealand compared to the pound? And I sometimes get myself more mixed up than I should.
Right.
which way I should be trading on those. I do, I go back to the monthly direction. I say, okay, well, we should be heading for this, but it sometimes goes just so far down, and then you think it's turned, and it was like the Euro New Zealand. It turned on us and 260 pips north, and we missed the whole thing because
Right.
it didn't go down to where we thought it was. But
Right. Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, it's just like what we talked about before, which is establishing the habits which duplicate successes. So that's number one. And so sometimes when we say, hey, we have to wait for this, and it doesn't happen, it just means that, hey, we weren't able to duplicate that success. Now, to be able to, like, for example, the Euro NZD that pushed bullish, and even the Pound NZD that pushed bullish, the only investors that really took advantage of those moves were really the position traders that accepted the risk of the drawdown. That risk was large. That risk was like 400 pips, which I wouldn't want to accept, and I know your style you didn't want to accept either. And so for us, our habits prevented us from making that profit. But to answer your question specifically, what's going to help you is the understanding of basket trading, of saying what is all the euros doing as a whole, what is all the JPYs doing as a whole, what is all the pounds doing as a whole, and euros and Canadian dollars and so on and so forth. And what that's going to do is that's going to give you the bigger picture of who's in control. Because sometimes like a fundamental announcement will come out and all the JPYs will just push everything around. And then sometimes an announcement will come out for Great British Pounds and all their pounds will push everything around. That takes a lot of work. You ever seen like those traders who have like 20 screens and they're just like, it's like, what are you doing with all those screens? They're basket trading. And what they're doing is they're monitoring all the baskets on the different currencies to kind of see, and they're playing a quantity game. It's a lot of work. It really, truly is a lot of work. But that's, outside of that, I don't really know any other way to correlate other currency pairs without looking at the basket. It's challenging to say, well, here's the Euro NZD. Let's look at the Pound NZD as a leading indicator. It's either, hey, if you're going to use the NZDs, you got to look at all the NZDs across the board as a leading indicator.
Yes, yeah.
So
I like using NZD yen when I'm looking at New Zealand and see which way they're both going, so that if one's going up, the other's going down.
Also, another good default is any US dollar crossover. So US dollar is the world's reserve currency. Whether people like that or not, there's more US dollars traded
this week
within a 24-hour period than any other currency. So if you ever see like a fast track, if you want to see what the New Zealand's dollars are doing, go see what's happening on the US. Because if New Zealand's gaining strength in the US, there's a good chance it's gaining strength against everything else. Because the U.S. is such a strong, powerful currency. And if it's gaining strength in that one, it means something big's happening.
So do you think the euro had lots of strength over the last few days because the U.S. dollar was coming down?
Yeah, I think that, as well as we just had like the G20 summit, and everything that's happening with the Great Britain, you're starting to see a little run on the euro. But if you look at like a monthly time frame on the euro US dollar, I think like the last 12 years or so, it's been inside that range. And we're at the bottom of support. So eventually it should break bullish. But before it can break bullish, it's like a little tiny sideways movement. It's like 1,000 pip range. And so what we're going to see, which is going to help out the euro yen trade, is the euro US is at the top of that resistance. And I think we just maxed out like a 900 pip move. So once that turns, that's also going to help push down the euro yen too. So that everything, now you're starting to see everything's tying together. But big thing is have a notepad, write everything down.
Yeah. It all makes more sense, in the last 6 months than what it did before. And I'm sure that you've got a lot to do with that. So
thank you so much.
Thank you very kindly for
You're
finally getting something in my brain.
You're very welcome. Well, stay the course. Follow the plan. Don't deviate. Don't change anything. One of the neat things about the human spirit is we love to innovate. That's why we have lights, and that's why we have cameras. That's why you and I are able to to talk with each other through a computer, which is really like just a little tiny screen, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But in trading, it doesn't work that way. In trading, once you have it, you stick with it and you protect it. You don't do anything else. And you have a formula that's working. So stay the course. Congratulations on your success. I'm still going to have Rachel make sure that you have my information. I'm pretty sure you already do, because I know we do communicate every now and then. But I want to make sure that, I have like 3 or 4 emails now. I want to make sure that you have the proper email that goes directly to me.
Right.
So, so thank you, Trish, for taking the time. Everyone who's watching this, everyone who's watching this interview, the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway is a couple of things. Number 1, you got to have a regimen. Number 2, you have to have belief and trust. Number 3, you have to make sure that when you turn on your computer, you know exactly what to do start to finish. Success is a formula, not a fantasy. And the biggest thing is this. If one person can do it, another person can do it. And usually investors are just really like 1 or 2 things away from having their ultimate success. And so if you feel as if you're just 1 or 2 things away, reach out to us. Let us help you. Let us provide you the formulas, and let us help overcome your stumbling blocks, because that's what we're really good at. And so Trish, congratulations on your success, and thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh, for all you do.
Absolutely.